Episode 2 of The Mandalorian is coming tomorrow. I hope you can hear the excitement in my voice. I'm going to do a live stream as well while waiting for the actual release of the episode live, so you guys can tune in. Stay tuned for that. Check out my channel. I'll probably do it a couple of hours before the episode is actually released on Disney+, but for today, I want to talk about Episode 1 more so than Episode 2. So for those who missed a lot of Easter eggs, whether it be the Anakin Skywalker pod racer or the Luke Skywalker Easter egg in Episode 1, we're here to talk about that. There were so many Easter eggs in Episode 1 that it honestly took me by surprise. I had to categorize my videos piece by piece throughout the week and released a lot of Easter eggs throughout the week with Anakin's pod racer, with Boba Fett, and how the Krayt Dragon might have helped Boba Fett escape the Sarlacc pit. But did you know that Luke Skywalker was actually mentioned in Episode 1 of The Mandalorian in the premiere called The Marshal? Let's talk about it today. So as I said, a lot of Easter eggs were shown in the premiere, and Episode 1 did so much to reference the original trilogy that it actually got me to tear up a bit. It started by referencing A New Hope with R5, then with the Desert Dunes and with the Tusken Raiders. All that was reminiscent of what we saw as kids, whether it be when they were first released or when you were a kid just recently. The original trilogy will always be at least in my heart, and it continued on, believe it or not. It did not reference just A New Hope, but it referenced Return of the Jedi as well. So as many of you guys know, The Mandalorian takes place years after Return of the Jedi. So it is in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. The Mandalorian Season 1 highlighted some areas where the Empire was actually doing some good in some way, while not maybe directly doing some good, at least indirectly, by curbing some of the crime and the slavery that was happening all across planets. Not to say that the Empire did not commit crimes and actually had slaves of their own, but through sheer cleansing of planets and powers that be, the gangsters and such were run away from those planets where the Empire took over, and indirectly you could say that the Empire brushed away a lot of the good with the bad. But the unfortunate truth of this is that once you remove the powerful, then a lack of power creates a vacuum. And this is what Episode 1 and Cobb Vanth made it clear what happened with Mos Pelgo. There's a lot of people who will try to plug those holes, and in the Marshal chapter showcased that with what happened and the consequences they faced after the Empire lost the war. On Tatooine, Mos Pelgo temporarily fell under the mining collective's rule shortly after the second Death Star was destroyed. This is clearly shown in the scene where Cobb Vanth is explaining to the Mandalorian step by step what happened to them and how they fell under the criminal rule. Cobb Vanth is at the same bar the Mandalorian just recently left with him, and it shows a lot of people celebrating the destruction of the Death Star on a HoloNet broadcast, the news basically, that the Emperor, Darth Vader, and together with the Death Star had been ruined. The interesting thing about it is that right at this frame, you have an Easter egg that is referencing directly not only what happened with Return of the Jedi, but with Luke Skywalker as well. Secretly, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau mentioned Luke Skywalker without a lot of fans noticing, except for yours truly, Uncle Bessie, who got to translate the Arabic, the text that is below this broadcast. So let's start explaining what we see in this image right here. To start with, the night the second Death Star was destroyed, a news report on the HoloNet broadcasted the Empire's defeat to planets all across the galaxy. Now, I would imagine that some planets were disappointed to see the Empire fall. Maybe they loved Emperor Palpatine and the Empire, although we mostly see a lot of the galaxy being content and happy to see the Empire finally gone. And this included Tatooine. As you can see on Mos Pelgo, they are celebrating vividly the fall of the Death Star, the Empire, and so forth. But there is some text below the screen that is an actual copy of the second paragraph from the Return of the Jedi's opening crawl. It is just written in Arabic instead. So first off, I gotta say that this is a great callback to George Lucas and his original trilogy, his vision for what Episode 4, 5, and 6 was. This is where the Skywalker saga actually began. The fact is that this Arabic text below the screen is talking about Luke Skywalker and the Empire. The text translated into English says, "Little does Luke know that the Galactic Empire has secretly begun construction on a new armored space station even more powerful than the first dreaded Death Star." After I saw this in Arabic, I immediately went into translating it when I first saw the episode, and the translation came up as that. I immediately recognized this text. I was thinking this was the opening crawl, but confirmed it later on, and to my surprise, I mean, there are a lot of devout Star Wars fans that I saw on Reddit and a lot of other places that actually did the same thing. They immediately recognized this Easter egg and translated the Arabic to English. And so it only meant that this was a nod to George Lucas's films, since the text does appear on screen and it is canon. It doesn't much do to affect the real storyline, or we do know at least that the population of the galaxy knows who Luke Skywalker is if this text is appearing on HoloNet projections. That at least we can be sure of. Since the original trilogy and in the sequel trilogy as well, the Jedi have fallen into mystery mostly. They were wiped out from history by the Empire and not spoken of again. In fact, lightsabers were deemed illegal, at least in Legends material. To the victor go the spoils, and the victorious really rewrite the history as they want to. So the Jedi were just seen as these traitor wizards who wanted to take the galaxy for their own, but Palpatine came in and saved the day. That's how history remembered the Jedi, and it's not really clear what happened after Palpatine fell and the Jedi Order rose again with Luke Skywalker. It's not really made clear in the sequel trilogy as well how the population feels about the new Jedi Order and the New Republic, but I can feel safe knowing that at least the galaxy knew by these holo projections who Luke was, and his name rose to prominence after that, I believe. So this tells us that Luke was not an unknown, maybe not to all known to be a Jedi Master, but at least known to fight for the rebellion and fight for good. So there you have it. Luke Skywalker mentioned in The Mandalorian. That's gotta be something. That's gotta mean that we might get to see a mature Luke in the way distant future, Season 3, Season 4. I'm not going to speculate on that, but thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.